Hey guys, we are back at it again with another episode of Period Sis. I'm your host, Mandy B, and we are brought to you this week none other than the official box owner. Again, I am sharing this platform to not only learn, but also continue sharing the stories of brave women, strong women, and pretty much the everyday woman. Yes, you never know what someone is going through. And this week we are going to learn about a woman who is really going through three different things all at once. We have talked plenty of times here on the platform about PCOS, but what if you had PCOS, fibroids, and something called PMDD? That's right, we're talking about something new today here on Period Sis. So I'm super excited to get into yet another journey and another tale of womanhood for women by women. And hi guys, today I am joined by Stephanie, who is an EMT in training. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Mandy, and thank you for creating this platform. I am going to girlfriend for a little bit because I've been following you from Horrible Decisions since 2017. Y'all are dope, and to have this podcast for us when, you know, our health is not always front and center is really
Right.
important, and it will always be out there in the world forever as a
So,
reference.
well, I'm just glad that you're brave to kind of, first off, to have reached out to want to share your story. I'm super grateful for that, of course. And thank you for also listening to my Hoe Ass podcast.
Ow.
Because, again, I think the health aspect of us, it does literally go from the bathroom to the bedroom. And our partners, so many of them don't even know what we're going through either.
Right.
And so let's start, I guess, maybe before you was popping that pussy. Let's go back to adolescence. Let's go back to maybe when you realized your cycle, your menstrual was not quote unquote normal.
So, it really came down to physicals. Like when they literally will ask you, when's the last menstrual cycle you had? And unfortunately, because my period, I'll start by saying I received my first period in middle school,
Okay.
and it was pretty regular, I would say, up until high school. And then when I would go to physicals, they'd ask, when's the last time you had your period? And I literally would say, I don't know. Or I didn't, we didn't have apps back then to track. Or so there was no reference point for me to look at. But it, it was so regular for me to not have a period that I never even thought about, oh shit, I don't have a period. Until also I got to college where I noticed like my roommates needed tampons and pads and I never needed any of it because I never had a period.
So
Um,
wait, in high school, so you went from having a normal period in middle school, and then by the time
mhm.
high school came, you just
Yeah.
didn't even realize a period was not coming on monthly.
Right.
Can I ask? May I ask a personal question?
Absolutely.
At this time, were you sexually active in high school?
I was sexually active, lost my virginity at 16
Okay.
and I stopped having sex around 17
But
when I
so
got
let
out
me
of that
ask you,
relationship.
not having a period didn't scare you? Did you know that like a missed period was connected to potential
Right.
pregnancy?
Right. That's why I think that yeah, it was yeah. I don't I didn't like sometimes things just like go over my head and I really
Well, not
didn't
only
think
that, you
yeah.
probably weren't educated to even connecting the two so much. I mean, I
Mhm.
think our sex education pretty much stemmed around just, not having sex. It
Right.
wasn't really discussing even ovulation and when pregnancy
Mhm.
took place. So I'm sure you just figured, well, as long as my belly isn't getting big and I'm not having morning sickness, I'm good.
Yeah, and we were protected at the time, so I didn't think
Okay.
about like getting pregnant at all either.
Okay, so you said when you got to college, you realized the people around you, all the women around you, were asking for these menstrual products on,
Mhm.
you know, way more often than you were. So,
Right.
what did a conversation then start with a friend before seeking medical attention?
It started in the hospital, primary care. So like going
Okay.
to my physicals, they definitely would recommend birth control as an option to help regulate it or to start it or to at least something to appear. So because nothing was coming. So definitely in the hospital. I didn't talk about it with my friends as much, more like a mental observation, like, oh shit, they get periods, I don't. Yeah.
Okay, and so when you went to your primary care physician, you
Hmm.
said that they pretty much just suggested birth control to regulate it. But
Yep.
was there not a diagnosis during then? Did they tell you what it could be? Were there any conversations that what all of the possibilities could be because of the missed period?
I feel like I am just a product of Black women health being ignored. So I'll start there. And the diagnosis was very dismissive. And the only solution was birth control, but just kind of like, oh, you have PCOS, birth control, you should be all set. Never an in depth conversation about how, why, when, how to treat it, how to take care of it. Let's also monitor it in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, in the next, like there wasn't really any follow up either.
Now, what outside of the missed period, what other symptoms did you have? I assume you started doing some of your own research to see, even because we go into a hospital and they just start yelling out these letters,
Right.
these acronyms, or these big words, and we're like, okay, you're speak English to me.
Right.
So when they said PCOS, did you go and do your own research, and what other symptoms did you realize that you had as well?
I didn't do my research when I was diagnosed in my adolescence. It was
Okay.
more as technology became more available to us on our smartphones and things like that, which was more like college, post college was when I started doing research on PCOS. They're always going to recommend most likely birth control. They're going to tell you to lose weight. Um, so
Oh, I didn't know.
yeah,
How
losing
are
weight is
they?
definitely something they're going to recommend because in my case, on the BMI scale that doesn't accommodate again to the black bodies of this
Right.
world, obesity is what they have diagnosed me with as well. So they're definitely birth control and weight loss is what they recommended for treatment.
Okay, so one of the interesting things when you reached out to me as well, and again, I'm not sure um, if there has been further research on it, but you
Hmm.
actually mentioned something about relaxing your hair being
Hmm.
associated as well to the disappearance of your period.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that relaxing hair is definitely something that, our community experience more younger. I don't think a lot of people relax their hair as often
Hmm.
because we are in this natural hair embracing of our curls and kinks. But can you talk to
Right.
me about how you connected the relaxer to your menstrual cycle?
Well, I have to bring it back to my mother's health. My
Okay.
mother was a licensed cosmetologist. She did our hair our whole lives. She did the
Okay.
hair of mine, my sister, my cousins, everyone. And she was exposed to relaxer chemicals for a very, very long time. So she actually has a history of, irregularities with her period, which
Okay.
it's just her history. I'll just talk about it real quick, just because I think it relates a lot to why I have it too. Um, she was exposed to all those chemicals, bang, 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 and then in my college year, she was diagnosed with fibroids as well, but her fibroids were so large that she has to get a hysterectomy.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's just I don't have any like scientific proof, but when I did Google relaxers and fibroids, there is a website that talks about black hair relaxers and fibroids. So if you Google that, that will give you definitely a lot more information.
That
But
is very interesting,
very
especially
interesting, right? And
especially
then can I
considering
add
fibroids.
another interesting part?
Oh God, you're
When I
you're
stopped
opening up a
relaxing my
world.
hair, when I stopped relaxing my hair, my period came.
Wow.
Yes.
And
So
you
again, I'm not like here researching and doing all that, but just observation and how specifically black women have such an issue with are more likely to be diagnosed with PCOS, are more likely to have irregularities, and then on top of that, we have that PHL word that is you know er, erupts our hormones. I
okay.
mean, come on, there has to be a connection.
No, you're right. And what's crazy too is that fibroids is linked to affecting Black women more than any other race as well. And that's why,
Mm-hmm.
when I saw that you brought up the relaxing thing in your email, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
aha. And I have heard of how toxic, of how toxic relaxers are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally chemicals that are seeping into your scalp. And the same way that we talk about how many toxins are even in the menstrual products and how that has affected us over all these years as well, I completely see the connection. Like, so let's get into after your PCOS diagnosis, you kind of, I guess, got a little bit more familiar with going to a primary care physician and getting your checkups.
Mm-hmm.
Can you let me know what ended up showing up during one of your visits as well that led to, I guess, some more complications?
So I have two during an ultrasound, probably like 2018, I did an ultrasound and they found two fibroids. One
Can I ask you?
mhm.
Well, one moment. Can I ask you real quick? With the diagnosis, is that why you were given an ultrasound, or how often is an ultrasound given when you just go to the doctor? Because I normally those there has to be a reason for an ultrasound, right?
Yeah, my primary would recommend me to a GYN, and the
Okay.
GYN would um recommend ultrasound because
Okay.
they want to see what's in there if there's anything that's because of so PCOS, poly ovary um
Yes.
cystic
Polycystic
polycystic
cystic
ovary syndrome.
ovary syndrome.
They oops. They want to also monitor if you have cysts in your ovary.
Got
And
you.
for me, again, that's
Okay.
another symptom for diagnosis. There were no ovaries, like excessive cysts in my ovaries.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
However, there were fibroids.
but they were fibroids, yes.
Okay. And how did they discuss with you about the fibroids? I know you said when you got the diagnosis of PCOS, they were
Mhm.
real nonchalant about it.
Mhm.
What was the conversation regarding the two fibroids that were found?
Also nonchalant. You gotta love it, huh? They said that they are benign and small and less than a centimeter, so do not worry about them. However, every time I go to the GYN, I always ask for ultrasound and always ask to monitor them because, again, you are your biggest advocate.
Right.
And they recommend to monitor every 3 years
Okay.
to make
Okay.
sure that it
And
does not grow in size. And given my mother's situation, I definitely am on top of that.
okay. So now I guess with PCOS and fibroids, I guess let me ask you now, has the period regulated, and has this also caused issues in terms of fertility for you? What has those conversations been like for you as you're getting older?
As I'm getting older, my period has not regulated.
Okay.
I tried to do this trick where I was like, I'm gonna go on birth control for 1 month because I hate being on birth control. It just turns you into an evil biatch. So I was like, no on the birth control, but I'll do it for 1 month because it was getting to the point where like right now I have my period, holla, but I haven't had it in 93 days.
Oh,
So it's like I
a whole
just
three
came a
months.
whole 3 months. Just came from a
Wow.
physical, and the
Okay.
doctor was definitely trying to push me to more natural remedies, including weight loss and diet and exercise and things like that over birth control because she's a black provider and she does not like birth control either. So it has still not been regular.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so let's get into, we know kind of what PMS is. A lot of
Mhm.
us associate our crankiness, our grogginess, our attitudes, our mood swings to kind of that week to a few days leading up to our period. Let's talk about what that has looked like for you, who doesn't necessarily get a monthly period, but I know that you've kind of come across something not only in your therapy session but in your
Mhm.
own research. So can we talk about that?
So PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder.
Yes.
Right,
How did
on
you
the
come across
money.
that?
Um, P- so shout out to my fiance. Um, so we talked about infertility. I'm banging coochies, so we're
Okay.
good. But
Boom.
boom. But the as I got into a relationship, I was single before 10
Okay.
years, and then I got into a relationship. And
All right.
then she noticed that I'll be good for 1 week. And then 3 weeks prior to the period, or what should be a period time, because even though you have a lack of period, you still go through the cycle and the
The
motions and
cycle. Yep.
luteal and all that. So she noticed that right before the period, I just get into these moods. And it was just like, at that time, I wasn't really doing the work for self healing. I wasn't really doing the shadow work. I wasn't really working on myself and things like that. So I would just get into these moods where I just don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to be bothered by anybody. My rage, whew, when we talk about PMDD, we talking about rage and fierce rage. Like you are pissed at the world for the most smallest things. And she notices like, why are you like this? And then just to um, bring it back, um, one day I was driving and I was driving and I was at a stop sign and something in my mind said, you should crash the car.
Whoa. This was, you were driving by yourself, just a
Driving by
regular
myself.
day.
I literally was just with her and I stepped out to grab something from the store and I
Okay.
was already in my funk for the day. And
Okay.
I was at not I was at a stop light and I literally told my like there was a it was kind of like at a fork, and then
Okay.
I was looking straight ahead and I said, "You should crash the car into the wall." And that right there was like, "You need help."
You had
Like this,
never, like, this thought just came out of nowhere. Like,
I had
I know,
never
I know
had
you said,
suicidal ideation before.
okay,
Never.
now I know you said that you would have rage and mood swings, but
Mhm.
did you feel anxiety? Did you feel depression? Were those also feelings as well, or
Mhm.
was it just a rage of anger? Or was it everything?
Everything,
Okay,
anxiety, depression, rage, um
and this was happening on a monthly basis.
monthly basis.
Okay, so
Like so much I didn't even like myself. Like I didn't even want to fuck with me. Like it's
wow.
bad. Because
So
it's like PMS but times 1,000.
So you have this thought. Thank God you were also willing to just control those thoughts.
Yes, thank God.
What happened when you got home? Did you share? How long before you shared this thought or feeling in your mind before you decided to get help?
Um I believe if I'm not mistaken, I when I got back to the house, I told her right away because I knew how dangerous the situation was.
Right. And her solution or her suggestion at that point was to seek therapy, correct?
Yes, definitely therapy.
Okay. So and how and when, how long did it take? Again, I know that we're in an era where mental health and therapy is so much more normalized now.
Yeah.
But what was that conversation like?
With
And, and
her.
and with her and also seeking a provider for therapy.
Luckily, I'm blessed and I was employed at the time.
Okay.
And I took advantage of my job's EAP program,
Okay.
employee assistance program. So they were able to match me with a licensed therapist and I had 5 free sessions. And then
Okay.
afterwards, I was able to have my insurance cover partial, and then I would pay out of pocket the copay. So luckily, I've always been open to therapy. I was going to therapy prior to that, but I knew I had to be a little more specific about the topic, including PMDD, because it takes over your life. Like,
Did did you specifically uh, seek out a female therapist? Did you specifically seek out a black woman therapist? Like, did you go into that? And then when you did speak to her or him, once you answer that, what was the conversation like about announcing your diagnosis and what you thought the connection was?
Definitely did seek a Black female therapist, and I was
Okay.
able to get it through the EAP program. And
Awesome.
then when those sessions with her ended, I still sought a female Black therapist, and luckily I've been with her since to this day, and she's amazing. She can recognize what PMDD is. She did her
Okay.
research on it.
Oh,
She
wow.
did not dismiss it as just, oh, it's all in your head or anything like that. What she actually taught me, which was a game changer for me, is cognitive distortions.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Yes. So cognitive distortion is just like that rap song. I can't remember the artist, but your mind is playing tricks on you. And your mind
Okay.
does that. And you shouldn't believe every single thought that your mind produces because it can cause you harm. In cognitive distortions, there's a list of things, but it includes like overthinking, catastrophic thinking, thinking that all or nothing, or sometimes that something.
Girl, are you reading me right
Am
now?
I reading the room?
You
Am
are
I reading the room?
You know what's crazy? And I didn't know the word for it.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those, like,
Mm-hmm.
if and my ex now, I am single now, but my partner used to always ask me, like, why do you think that way? So if he didn't answer my call, or he was like 5 minutes late of even picking me up, I immediately went into, he had a car accident, he's dead.
Catastrophic thinking.
Like going into tears, like, what am I going to do? I got to go to his funeral. Who's going to tell me? Like, do his brothers have my number? Like, and it would just create these ongoing, like,
and it's an avalanche effect, and it gets
yes,
worse
it
and worse
is.
and worse.
So you're talking to your therapist who's familiar with PMDD, that you know, that is also attached to a woman's menstrual cycle. What are some tips that she gave you? Because, girl, I don't know how to get over overthinking. I don't know how to get over the catastrophic thinking of scenarios in my mind. So what were some of those things to help you also get out of this suicidal ideation?
For me, self-talk is huge. So when a cognitive distortion enters my mind, I immediately identify it.
Okay.
I talk to myself and say, that's not true. I know it's like simple. It's just like, that's not true.
I thought you were about to tell me to do backflips.
No, say backflips. You might want to put on some meditation music. You might want to put on light a candle. You can meditate. You ever heard about fire meditation?
No.
You can light a candle and literally stare at the flame and think about nothing. Try to. I know it's hard because
thinking about nothing is hard.
Thinking about nothing is hard. But if you really train your mind to understand, like, hey, I might have some thoughts in my head that are a little out of pocket. I don't have to believe every single one of them, especially the ones that are self-destructive and could fuck up your relationships too. Because, like you said, he might not have answered you in 30 minutes, but he just might be taking a shower. He might just be getting the mail.
Or just looking for a parking spot.
He might just be looking for a parking spot on the way to your house. So just remind yourself that not every thought is true. And also, you know what's a good thing that is part of that? What evidence do I have to back up this idea? No evidence? It ain't there. It ain't real.
Oh.
What evidence do I have to prove this thought? Is there evidence? Is there? Is there? Is there?
Oh.
Maybe not.
So, your therapist is good.
She real good. Shout out to her.
Your therapist is good. I want to ask you as well, now that you're going through therapy, I want to know, because you are in a relationship with a woman, and again, I talk about, too, how none of our experiences are the same, what the conversations have been like with her regarding the patience, even for her to have with, dealing with a woman who is going through therapy for PMDD, who has PCOS, who, has these things that maybe she doesn't.
Right.
What are those conversations like, and how has she worked through as a partner with accepting it?
So L's up to Libras in the world because Libras are loyal as a motherfucker, okay?
We are.
They are, y'all are true angels. My mom's a Libra, she's a Libra. And y'all have a way of just being very understanding and empathetic. And that's the way she is. She has been very important in this process of beyond just PMDD, just like she is a light and life partner for me. So it's like we
That's
are trying to
amazing.
both aspire to be our higher selves. And with that we've fallen, we made mistakes, but but we're always willing to get back up and move past it. She has I have to give a shout out to Lady in the Stud podcast because they do an
Okay.
episode on PMDD. And one time she wrote into them for me and they responded and gave some answers back to her to like how as a partner I can support you as you have PMDD.
That's
So
amazing.
I think
And their
yeah,
advice did help as well with her and your relationship?
it did because the podcast is two lesbian it's a lesbian couple who one partner also watched her partner deteriorate in front of her.
Ah,
And once they found the diagnosis of PMDD, they were able to work to find better solutions. And sometimes it's just going back to the 5 love languages, right? Like I know she's in a bad mood. Let me make her some dinner. Let me make her life a little easier with some acts of services. Let me, with words of affirmation, tell her you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're the love of my life. Let me
right.
spend some quality time with her. Let's watch a show together so we can like distract the mind um, off of that. I would definitely recommend using the 5 love languages. If you are a partner who has somebody, your partner has PMDD, how can I be supportive? I think that could be one way of doing it.
You dropped all of the gems here today, Steph.
Ow!
No,
Bonfire! Ba, 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 ba.
no, seriously. Like normally, I'll sit here and say, "Now, do you have any advice?" But throughout every piece of your journey, you were able to acknowledge what the problem was and how you found a solution and share that with
Yeah.
the people listening today.
Yeah. Can I
Oh
also
gosh,
can I give one
yes.
more piece of advice for
I was gonna ask for one more. I was literally about to ask for one more. So Steph,
I
give us some more.
so Candace, she is a popular choreographer in LA, I believe. She
Okay.
has the Commerce show with her husband or fiance,
Yes.
um, Omar.
Bolden. Omar Bolden. There you
Omar?
go.
Okay, cool. So, Candace, I have to say thank you to you because she shared her PCOS journey on her YouTube
Oh
page.
wow. Okay.
And she actually sat down with her GYN.
Okay.
And in her video, the doctor explains everything about PCOS. Every symptom that you can have, how you can be diagnosed, and how you can be treated because another symptom is hair loss. So she gives you weight loss options. She gives you medication for hair loss. She gives
So
you
there's wait, real quick. So it's
hmm
excessive hair gain or hair
hair
loss.
loss.
I did not know that.
And a
Okay.
lot of us have traction alopecia.
Okay.
So sometimes it's not attributed to the tight hairstyles you wear. It could be attributed to PCOS.
Ah.
Mhm.
So we went over so the symptoms. If you're listening to this podcast and because you just brought up two new symptoms that
Mhm.
I believe I may have not shared on this show. So we know that PCOS, you have the irregular periods,
Mhm.
you have the weight gain,
Mhm.
you have the excessive hair, but now in addition, it could be an excessive amount of hair loss.
Mhm.
What are the give me some more?
Um the
Those are
ir-
kind of
yeah, those are kind of irregular period. We said that?
yep, we
Yep.
said that
Yep.
first.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then that video goes into so much more detail that it can also might bring up symptoms that we have not discussed yet.
Okay, well, hopefully, maybe what we can do is insert a clip from that episode on YouTube into this episode. And if you guys want to hear more, definitely check out Candace's YouTube. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I hope this is a resource for all of you, because those resources have helped me, and I hope it helps more women in the future. And this is what the show is all about.
I love that. And guys, you guys will be able to find that salty article that was mentioned as well. That's where we got the title for this week's episode. Stephanie came across a salty article saying, "Does your period make you suicidal?" And so the link to that article will be in the description of this episode, as well as the link to Candace's YouTube video with her guy. Now, I'm definitely going to look into that. And make sure you stay tuned for some stats and facts. Stephanie, do you have anything else to say before we get out of here?
Peace and love to all y'all listening. It is a journey. It is a process. It unfortunately does take over your life, but it doesn't end it. So I just say push forward. Be your own advocate. Do your own research. And what works for you works for you. There's no, unfortunately, one cookie cutter solution, especially to PCOS, especially with how complex the disorder is, and how little research there is on it. But unfortunately, how common it is, especially among us Black women.
Right. Well, Stephanie, I like
that. I like that. I'm going to steal that, Stephanie.
It's definitely been a pleasure having you. Look at me. Not me creating your name into a fucking word. No, but it's definitely been a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.